The NFL is rigged. It's rigged for the gambling sites. They're in bed with the gambling sites, FanDuel, Caesars, DraftKings, whoever else. The NFL's rigged. No, I know that's what the title says, and that's kind of what I want to talk about. I don't actually think the NFL is rigged, but I do want to say that Vegas knows exactly what the hell they're doing, and it's incredible to see it on a week-to-week basis. So NFL Week 8 happens, right? And I was looking, if you don't already follow me on Instagram at Lots of Thoughts Sports, I make weekly picks most of the time. 3 picks against the spread with the betting lines from FanDuel. And I tend to go with ones that I think that's got to be a gimme game, right? And I've started to realize that Vegas really knows what they're doing. And games that I think should go one way, obviously, tend to go the opposite way. I want to call a few into question this week. Houston at Carolina. Houston is one of the hottest betted teams in the NFL. I like watching Houston. I think they're a good team. I think they made a great selection with CJ Stroud. Will Anderson, the draft pick. I don't know if trading up for him was worth it. We'll see. You know, obviously, they judge that in the full length of his career. Sacrificed a lot for that, but 2 blue chip players in theory to build their franchise around. DeMeco Ryans, I love what he's doing down there in Houston. They're plus 3.5 at Carolina. Carolina without a win. Bryce Young looks like worse than CJ Stroud. I won't say a bad quarterback. He hasn't looked great so far. And obviously, this is 6-7 games into his NFL career. Who am I to judge him that early? I'm not saying by any means that he's going to be anything really in his NFL career. He could be great. He could be awful. I have no clue, right? First overall pick, hasn't performed as well as maybe the Carolina Panthers would have liked. And part of that is that they don't have great weapons for him. They traded away their best one to be able to move up to grab him by trading DJ Moore to the Chicago Bears. But he hasn't looked great so far this year. Houston has looked pretty good, above expectation. And Carolina's only 3.5-point underdogs. That was like mind-blowing to me to see. And so I picked Carolina to cover the 3.5 because Vegas knows what they're doing. And what did Carolina do? They won the game outright. They won 15-13. Another game that I thought was suspicious, Atlanta at Tennessee. Tennessee is plus 2.5. At first glance, Tennessee was a playoff team not too long ago, right? Atlanta, Desmond Ridder hasn't been as good as they would have liked, but Atlanta has looked like a competent team, and Tennessee, with Ryan Tannehill, has looked awful. Now, Ryan Tannehill's out. They're saying they're going to play both Malik Willis, who's looked awful, and Will Levis, who dropped to the second round in the draft when everyone thought he may be a top 4 or 5 pick. So in theory, Tennessee should have been the favorite. Should have been the heavy favorite. And at the same time, maybe he shouldn't have been. Maybe they shouldn't have been. Because Tennessee ended up winning that game. Will Levis ended up scoring 4 touchdowns. And the Titans looked really good. DeAndre Hopkins looked like he transformed into the younger version of himself. Excuse me, I'm checking what pick I made. I didn't make that pick, but I had that in my notes. Just because I had Tennessee, just because the line didn't make sense. I thought Atlanta should have won that game outright. Should have easily won that game. But Vegas knows what they're doing way more than me, the average Joe. In the same vein, I thought San Francisco minus 4.5 against Cincinnati in San Francisco was an easy bet. San Francisco had a few rough weeks. They could look to bounce back against the Cincinnati team that, while looking better, hasn't looked great so far this year. San Francisco at home, Brock Purdy played, right? So maybe you thought that the 4.5 could have been higher if he wasn't playing. Or I should have said, could have been higher if we knew he was playing. And in fact, we found out late that he was. Brock Purdy played. San Francisco lost that game 31-17. They didn't just lose. They got their butts whooped. Completely the opposite of what you thought. At least what I thought. And then we look at a game like Kansas City and Denver. Kansas City was plus 7.5 at Denver. And that's a big number, especially for being an away team in a snow game. But a lot of people are going to pick the Chiefs. And Vegas knows what they're doing. Denver ends up winning the game. Patrick Mahomes was sick, did not look right, threw 2 interceptions. Denver's defense, I think, has been pretty competent this year, as they were last year. It's their offense that hasn't always clicked. They ended up winning, what was it, 31-9, something like that. I have the scores open on my other monitor here. 24-9. Excellent performance by them. And then we go back to Thursday, right? Thursday night. Buccaneers at Bills. Final score was 24-18, Buffalo. The line on that game, I don't have it in front of me. I believe it was 8.5 or 9 for Buffalo. And Buffalo, no, it was less than that because no, it was that because Tampa Bay just ended up covering last minute. It was 8.5 or 9. That whole game was dominated by Buffalo. Only in the last few moments did Tampa start to gain momentum and look like they could win with a Hail Mary. But they came back just enough to cover the spread. So everyone that thought, oh, Buffalo's way better than Tampa. Tampa's looked great these past few weeks. Buffalo's looked better as the season's progressed. They lost to New England last week. They'll bounce back. They'll take the win against Tampa easily. Buccaneers backdoor cover. Vegas knows what they're doing. Even the games that Vegas didn't make out on, the Jets and Giants, for example, they had a 3-point spread. FanDuel had a 3-point spread in that game. Jets +3. They end up splitting. Not a win for FanDuel, but right at the line that we thought. Awful game, by the way, Jets and Giants. The most punts, I believe, in a game, something like 25 years. Same with, what was the other game that perfectly landed on the spread? The Eagles and Commanders, 7-point spread. Eagles end up winning by 7, 38-31. Now, some of the other games, I will admit, right? Everyone's betting Baltimore. They ended up winning 31-24. Oh, I'm sorry, that might not have covered the spread. The spread, Baltimore at Arizona was +9.5. Everyone's betting Baltimore. Arizona covers the 9.5. I didn't even plan that as part of my list of games that I thought Vegas knew about. But look at that. And Baltimore was in control that whole game. I didn't watch a lot of that game, but from what I saw, Baltimore was in control that whole game. And then Arizona ends up covering the spread. I'm just saying, I know I like to make picks on this YouTube channel. It's a fun, thing to do. But I caution everybody from actually betting on these games because Vegas always wins. They always have, they always will. They know more than you about the game of football and the intricacies behind the wins. Some things that you don't even like. Patrick Mahomes being hurt. I wouldn't be surprised if Vegas had that. I'm sorry, Patrick Mahomes being sick. I wouldn't be surprised if Vegas had that tip a few days ago and we just found out about it, this morning? I would just caution everybody, when you make a bet, be prepared to lose it because Vegas knows more than you do. Anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about today. Hope you enjoyed this quick thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Is the NFL rigged in order to make money for gambling sites? Let me know. Thank you for watching. Peace out.